Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, the Bobby Petrino effect on full display for this Arkansas program late Thursday night, absolutely rolling against Arkansas Pine Bluff. Want to do a couple of different things. One, some overall takeaways in terms of what we saw from this Arkansas offense, but I think more importantly, dive into just three or four concepts on the film that we saw late Thursday night that I think really excite me heading into 2024. This was kind of our first taste in terms of how Bobby Petrino and Taylen Green are going to operate this Arkansas offense. And you kind of go back to the offseason. We said this about Taylen Green with Bobby Petrino coming in and said, one, Bobby Petrino, handpicks Taylen Green from the transfer portal. But I think more importantly, I think this marriage is kind of perfect. Bobby Petrino has had a lot of success with these kind of quarterbacks during his coaching career. And I think more importantly, like Taylen Green, from a physical trait standpoint, this kid checks all the boxes in terms of quarterback that can win at a high level in the SEC. Has it been a roller coaster of a ride for Taylen Green going back to Boise State? Yeah, absolutely. But if you can get the best out of Taylen Green, this kid at the very least is going to be extremely fun to watch for Arkansas all 2024. I think more importantly, I think this Arkansas team can win a lot of football games, and you saw kind of the versatility and the dynamic attributes that Taylen Green brings to this Arkansas offense, where you can ask Taylen Green to make throws and do stuff athletically that you just can't ask a lot of other quarterbacks across the country. Really, really impressive performance. Now, I think where you want to start is that it's Arkansas Pine Bluff. This was the expectation for a lot of Arkansas fans, which I certainly would agree with. That being said, you go back to 2023, we saw Arkansas struggle against teams that they were 30, 40 plus favorites in. Kent State played a horrible game, looked like a bad football team, and then got beat against BYU the next week. And so you wanted to see Arkansas come out and play to their standard, and most importantly, get a feel of what this Arkansas offense is going to look like. Want to get into, again, a few takeaways, but I think more importantly, get into some of the film and talk about what we saw from the Bobby Petrino offense. Now, before we get into it, as always, the Arkansas fans, it's been a blast talking this program. The amount of support y'all have shown the boys as we've headed into 2024, it's been amazing. We appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Much more importantly, we'd love to hear how you guys are feeling in the comment section. And without further ado, let's get into it. Let's start with some overall takeaways. I want to start with the run game, right? 279 yards on the ground, 8.5 yards per carry. The Arkansas offensive line, yes, we're physically imposing. It kind of goes back to a conversation we've had where we know the personnel for Arkansas's offensive line, it's significantly better than what it was in 2023. Like, the personnel was a problem for Arkansas in 2023. You go to our biggest question mark about this unit heading into 2024 was not how good can this unit be, but how well does it come together, right? When you build an offensive line that has three new faces coming in through the transfer portal, you want to see this unit come together, man. I thought you saw that on Thursday night. You take a look at the run game, these combo blocks, double teams on inside zones, working up to the linebacker. The timing was perfect. The chemistry, the communication was perfect. You look at pass protection, picking up stunts, picking up added pass rushes, picking up blitzes. The chemistry and continuity that you saw from the Arkansas offensive line was probably my biggest takeaway. Like, again, we knew this offensive line from a personnel standpoint got better, but I thought the chemistry was really good. And then you go to the running game and say Jaquin and Jackson, this is the kind of running, I would say this is the kind of running back that Sam Pittman wants to build his Arkansas offense with. A bruising running back that's going to get downhill. He's going to keep you on schedule. But what I think you saw from Jaquin and Jackson is a little bit of juice that not enough people gave him credit for coming into Arkansas, where, hey, we knew he's a hammer at 220 plus pounds, thick lower half, can deal with a lot of contact, invites a lot of contact. And this is a guy that does not run out of bounds, which I thought he should have maybe a couple of times yesterday night. But I think more importantly, when he got to the second level, making people miss, had 6 missed tackles forced on 9 carries last night. An extremely good number for a running back his size. Then when he gets to the second level, showing some shake, showing some breakaway speed, this is a running back that there are not going to be a lot of defenses, even in the SEC, that want to tackle Jaquin Jackson 20 to 25 plus times again. Then you add a guy like Taylen Green into the mix and how dynamic he is. Yes, he's a different flavor of dual threat quarterback that KJ Jefferson was. But when you can get Taylen Green in space, he's going to make people miss. And then he has the jets to kind of hit the home run. You look at KJ Jefferson last year, yes, you could run him more because he was built like a linebacker, but didn't really make a ton of people miss, wasn't extremely explosive when he got into space. You saw Bobby Petrino do a really nice job of, hey, how can we to get Taylen Green out in space on a linebacker and safety, and then go let him do the rest? Because you saw Taylen Green do that on Thursday night. And then you look at the passing attack and say it's diverse. One of the biggest problems I thought you saw with Arkansas's passing attack last year was, one, the pass pro stunk. It's going to get better in 2024. But more importantly, it was kind of a one-trick pony. Like, if Andrew Armstrong wasn't catching the football, there weren't a ton of guys that emerged as difference makers. You had 14 guys catch footballs. Luke Haas looks like he's going to be one of the best tight ends in the SEC. We kind of said that preseason. A lot more guys that can hurt you on this Arkansas offense, specifically in this wide receiver room, than you had last year. And so I think that a diversity in the passing attack. I mean, Andrew Armstrong wasn't even on the football field today. Arkansas threw for over 400 yards. Kind of tells you about the kind of development of some of these other wide receivers that have been within this program, but just weren't necessarily impact guys in 2023. So the diversity in the passing attack, something I really like. Now, getting into some of the film, I want to start with the run game, and I want to start with some of the, inside zone that we saw Arkansas run, where we kind of talked about this. I think Arkansas, we knew, was better from a personnel standpoint, but we wanted to see how this kind of chemistry came together. You look at in the red zone, pretty simple inside zone, but if you were to run this film right here and then you freeze it, I mean, look at the movement we're getting on double teams. We're getting guards and centers working up two linebackers. This is exactly how you want it to look. And Jaquin Jackson, really, really good feel. If you're a linebacker and you see this kind of movement off the line of scrimmage, it's so hard for you to play the run. There's so much traffic for you to pick through. Some really good feel by Jaquin Jackson. And then this is ideal. Like, one-on-one matchup with a safety in space. Jaquin Jackson does the rest, trots in the end zone. Like, that kind of chemistry in terms of the double teams working to the second level on those inside zone concepts, I thought was really good. Like, we knew Arkansas was going to be able to move bodies off the line of scrimmage, but what does the chemistry look like? I thought you saw some really good things from Arkansas. This is a big physical offensive line. You look at some guys like Josh Brown, I mean, these are big dudes that can move bodies off the line of scrimmage, even in the SEC. And so if you can kind of get that chemistry and that whole unit kind of playing as one, that's a really good sign. I think the second concept that you really like, this pin and pull, where they used it a lot of times, right? Where you look at this tight end towards the top end of your screen here, we're going to pin down this edge rusher. The tight ends block their tails off. That's another thing that Sam Pittman, move this mic a little farther away from me here. Sam Pittman said last year the tight ends just didn't block well enough. And he was absolutely right. You take a look at this. We're going to pin this edge rusher here, and we're going to get it to the outside. One, really good block by the tight end. That's not an easy block all the time for tight ends on defensive linemen. But number two, we're going to pull our play side tackle and guard around, and we're just going to get a hat on a hat. Like, you freeze frame this, Jaquin Jackson in space being able to get downhill with the crease. That's where he's at its best. And then look at Keyshawn Blastock and getting 10 yards down the field, getting to the safety. You saw this Arkansas team who's not only really big and physical, they also got to the second level, got hats on hats. Jaquin Jackson obviously doing the rest. You see a little breakaway speed there. And then I believe he's going to wave to a cheerleader after he crossed the end zone. Absolute beauty. Like, you absolutely love what you saw from the Arkansas offensive line in the run game. Again, Arkansas averaged almost 10 yards per carry in this football game. Now, going to the passing attack, I think one of the things you absolutely loved was Taylen Green being composed as a pocket passer. You make no mistake about it. Taylen Green is at his best when he's getting outside of the pocket, using his athleticism, throwing on the run. You saw Taylen Green miss a few throws, most notably that first throw of the game where I think he was just late. And Tyrone Broden created separation. It's a big, fast wide receiver. Taylen Green's just got to get the ball out earlier. I think that was less of a miss in terms of accuracy and just not getting the football out quick enough. But you look at this play right here, one, really good pass protection from the Arkansas offensive line, dealing with some games up front. But you look at Fernando Carmona passing off that stunt, doing a really good job, clean pocket. You go back to Taylen Green's film on Boise State. When this kind of play happened, he's already dropping his eyes and trying to extend plays. Taylen Green trusting the pocket, and then Arkansas giving him a very good pocket was very, very good to see. And then what does he see? This Luke Haas kind of crossing over. All right, we're going to throw him into that zone. We're going to wait for him to clear it and then throw him into the zone. Hit him right in the face mask, let him operate after the catch. Taylen Green's composure in the pocket, I thought, was really special as well. And that's some of the things that you wanted to see Taylen Green kind of take that step in heading into 2024. Next play I want to talk about here, where this is kind of where we talk about Taylen Green as just a difference maker, a guy that can win you high level games in the SEC. This is where he's at its best, right? Getting him outside the pocket, making the processing a little bit easier. And Taylen Green's going to make a throw that you're just not going to see many guys make. I mean, on the run, across his body, putting it in an absolute bucket. I mean, those are one of the throws that kind of make your jaw drop. And if you can get that from a consistent basis on Taylen Green, it's going to be huge for this Arkansas offense. But I think at the end of the day, Taylen Green gives you that ability to ask him to do just about anything on the football field because he's physically capable of it. You know, Bobby Petrino's worked with a lot of quarterbacks. Go back to Texas A&M with Max Johnson, just not capable of doing that. You couldn't ask Max Johnson to go out and make that throw. You can ask Taylen Green to do that. And if he can do that on a consistent basis and execute those kind of throws, you can win a lot of football games. And so at the end of the day, yes, Arkansas took care of business. That was the expectation heading into this matchup. I believe the spread was like 48 points. But for Arkansas fans, to come out and dominate the way you did, run a clean offense, you were 9-9 on third downs. I don't think you punted or kicked a field goal all game. You just scored 7 touchdowns. That's exactly how you wanted it to look. On the defensive side of the football, obviously very good. They have 130 total passing yards or total yards total, 7 rushing yards. I don't think we had any question marks about this Arkansas defense going up against Pine Bluff. I think our bigger question mark was, what does Taylen Green look in this offense? We got our answer. Fired up for the matchup against Oklahoma State next week. Kind of a noteworthy storyline. You know, Oklahoma State's kind of got a dogfight here. San Diego State at home week 1 on Saturday. You know, Arkansas probably coming in looking at the film Friday, probably getting Saturday and Sunday off, getting into game prep healthy, going into Monday. I think that's a big storyline for that week 2 matchup. We'll close it out there. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. Again, if y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.